This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glynn Lavender.
Hi and welcome to take 3 of episode 575 of Shutters Inc. This is Bruce Williams from shuttersincpodcast.com, and joining me once again from Melbourne, Victoria, from creativephotoworkshops.com.au, it is Mr. Glynn Lavender. How are you?
Bruce, I'll do the straight intro again, okay?
Okay.
Like I did last time. Good evening, Bruce. It's nice to see you. It's good to be here. Hello. That worked. Leave that in.
This is so much better.
Oh, perla.
Now, what have you been up to in the last month?
Oh, nothing, Bruce. I haven't even got off the couch.
Have you had your camera out?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, well, funnily enough, Bruce, this is sounding so natural, like I haven't said this to you already.
Exactly.
Funnily enough, Bruce, I have.
Right.
But I didn't take a single photo. And do you know why I didn't take a single photo? Because I didn't even turn the camera on.
So why'd you get it out?
You know why? I told you before.
I do, but nobody else does.
Oh, the other. Do we still have listeners?
We do.
Just thought we recorded this for legal purposes. Yeah, it's like with the phone calling centres. We have to record this for training purposes in case we say something that may get us sued. I did take my camera out but as a demonstration to show someone. Because a mate of mine, my mate Dean, is off to Africa in a month or two.
Okay.
And he wanted to come over and talk about photography and how's he going to be able to get decent photos on his. And so he came over and I pulled out my heaviest camera with the 150 to 600 Tamron on with a converter on, all 8 kilos of it, honked in his hand, said, all you need is 2 of those.
Nice.
And that put him somewhat aback, plus the $10,000 price tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a photographer he'll never be because he doesn't want to be one.
Right.
And so I kind of pulled out of that to try and dissuade him immediately from even the concept of trying to get.
Yeah.
Don't listen to any photographer, basically. Don't listen to anything. All you need is something that can zoom in close to fill the frame a bit better than you're going to be able to do with a normal camera.
This is the thing that gets me, is the number of people that go on Safari and all they take is a bloody iPhone.
Oh, I know.
It's like, what the hell do you think?
Which is not bad when the cheaters get on the front of the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
But not so good for anything else.
No. No.
But yeah, they're in the distance, that dot, that's something they saw, and that's okay. That's all they need out of their photography. They're not looking to be photographers, they're just memoryographers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a word, isn't it? So we ended up looking online at some big zoom compact cameras, and
okay.
Especially stuff like the little Panasonic ones, which they've got a really sweet small body one, which is like a 30 times zoom.
I was going to mention the Nikon that came out a few years back. I think that was 20x, but yeah,
probably well and truly gone by now if it's a few years ago.
Yeah,
but they've also got a 60x.
Right.
Yeah, 60 times. But so
wow.
I think it went something. It went from 20 to 1200.
Yikes!
So I mean, the 20 is great for the landscape stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1200. I mean, God knows how you're going to hold that thing steady or even find anything.
Yeah.
Actually, it had. I remember there's some feature it had. If you lost your subject, you could hit a button and it kind of jumps back like to less than half its normal magnification in one click.
Nice.
And then you can relocate and then click back to. So it's kind of this way of finding objects when you're working such an incredibly narrow angle of view.
That's a great
well
feature. That's a great feature.
Yeah, but I thought something like the 30 times is probably was that 35 to 700 or 35 to 1,000 or something is probably more than needed and a much smaller compact body. So I reckon it's got kind of a good alternative for most photographers.
So
most
let me pose this question: Is Dean the kind of guy who asks for your advice and then completely ignores everything you said?
No.
Right.
Because he believes in experts in their fields.
Oh, good on him.
So he's an ambulance driver. He's very particular minded about understanding knowledge and taking in knowledge and taking it from people who know more and then putting it into practice.
Yep.
So, we'll soon see. As far as I'm concerned, but at the same time, it all made common sense. I think common sense goes a long way, and the fact that you then to be able to use that for so many more things and so many more trips than just an Africa trip.
Yeah.
Where if you go and buy 150 to 600, you ain't using that ever again outside of an Africa trip. Realistically, for most non-photographers,
exactly,
ain't pulling one of those suckers around. Yeah.
No.
So that went that I thought that's the only time I pulled the camera out last, but I am pulling it out this Sunday because I have a workshop down the lovely town, the seaside resort of Ocean Grove.
Nice.
I'm running a workshop, and my 14-year-old daughter will be modelling it for the first time for me.
Oh, good on her.
Because it's bloody hard to get models down there, so
yeah,
I opted her with bribery.
So is this
cash.
A natural light portraiture?
A natural light portrait, yeah, just natural light portrait. So down in the Ocean Grove Camera and Photo is the store I'm doing them for. So with the very lovely Brendan Waits, who runs the Down South Photo Show video podcast.
Right. Cool.
Which if our listener hasn't seen that, it's worth a peruse.
Excellent.
And so Down South, the Down South Photo Show, I think it is, with my good mate Cam Blake.
Yep.
And him run that, and so I'm doing a workshop for him. So that's good. That's all sold out. But that'll be nice to. It's going to be like 14 degrees and 65% chance of rain. So that's going to be fun. Oh, it's also the shortest day of the year.
Oh,
so the lights will
too.
be gone in no time. So we've picked that perfectly, really.
You get a whole 6 hours of daylight.
Couldn't have planned it better, Dear. So actually, thinking of that, maybe we might pull the start time back an hour and start earlier, just to get it before the sun's going to set at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Or something. Not quite that bleak, but so I will be having my camera out again this coming weekend.
Yeah, nice.
So that'll be a bit of fun. I'm sure I'll take all of 6 or 8 photos.
Yeah.
But I have been busy. I've been touring a new school for my eldest kid.
Okay.
And hopefully, just filling in the enrolment paperwork today. So after a year and a bit out of school, hopefully getting him back into school, which will be really cool. And mind you, it means setting him free to catch a train and a tram to get to school. And
wow.
So for my kid who has hearing sensitivity issues and doesn't like being in crowds, so public transport and peak hours is going to be perfect for him.
Oh no,
it's good like that. So that's all going well. What else? And I've been contemplating and working on dates for 2 new India tours.
Wow.
For 26 and 27.
Right.
27 with the very lovely Cameron Blake aforementioned.
Right.
So we're going to run one together. And so that's been kept me a little bit occupied. I've been fiddling around with a few photos that I hadn't looked at before. Yeah. Yeah. Just working on finding hard drive. Oh, what's that hard drive? Oh, I hadn't seen those photos in years. I'd never bothered, because I'm working on, because I launched my Bangladesh tour, I think, before our last workshop, and so just looking at images and trying to remember.
That's November of this year, I think you said?
No, it's February.
February of next year, right.
Yeah. So I've just gone through some location stuff and
nice.
Thinking about how long we need to stay in each spot kind of thing. So just plotting those kind of things.
So how's the finding a reliable tour guide in India project coming along?
Not good. The guide's fine. It's the booking agents.
Right, okay.
So the guide got sorted. The guide I got well truly trained, but he doesn't do the hotel booking and the vehicle organising and all that sort of stuff. I think I might be okay. I think I've got one, but proof's in the pudding. Yeah, if interactions go easy or if they go hard and all that kind of stuff. But who knows? That might be the decision on whether it goes ahead or not, if they do my head in too much. But India's always a fun place to wrangle, is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, we talked about this on the last episode, that you'd had some issues with the agents and
the lovely folk last time, yes. The Screw You and Die travel company, yes.
Oh, dear.
All fun and games. And what else? Nothing else. That's it.
Right.
But I do have a bit of a congratulations I want to shout out.
Oh.
I want to do a bit of shout out if I could, Bruce.
Okay.
If it's all right with you.
Sure.
And I'd like to do the shout out to you, my friend.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations on 20,000 followers.
Oh, thank you, mate.
20, not on this podcast, people.
No.
Let's not branch that far. 20,000 light box people.
Yeah, on Darktable, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
I'm stoked. I mean, if you looked at some other channels on YouTube, you go, why did it take 7 years to hit that number? There's a lot of channels that just explode so much faster.
Yeah.
But I've sort of taken the attitude, well, it's a very niche market.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not like a Photoshop. If it was a Photoshop channel, I probably would have hit 20,000 a hell of a lot quicker. But
6.5 years.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but it's interesting that you should bring this up, because it's one of the things that I was going to talk about tonight was my channel, but not about the number of subscribers.
This was not pre-planned at all. Look at that.
No.
We're talking about the same thing.
We were going to talk about the same thing, but from different angles, because up until last weekend, hadn't released a video for 3 months.
Oh.
It had been just over 100 days. I think I hit the 100-day mark and I went, oh, man, I really got to do something. And I'd been kicking around this idea. So I sat down to record what is the most recent episode. And I said, look, I've been kicking this idea around, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going right back to square one, and we're going to reboot the channel. We're going to start all over again, because there have been UI changes to Darktable. There have been modules that have been deprecated that are no longer in use. We've changed from a display-referred workflow to a scene-referred workflow. My understanding of Darktable's come a long way. So I just think it's about time that I just start all over again.
So there goes the 20,000 followers. You just
no,
like a red ad product.
I picked up 200 subscribers in 4 days. Which, where I would normally pick up 200 subscribers in a month.
Right.
Yeah, and the response has just been overwhelmingly positive. Like, the number of people who've just come up and gone, oh, man, this couldn't have come at a better time. I only just discovered Darktable, and I looked at the back catalogue and didn't know where to start. And so the fact that you're just restarting right now is so exciting. And
well, I guess with Adobe's pricing going through the roof not long ago, lots of people out there looking for
alternatives. Absolutely. Yeah. So, it's just been massive. I picked up a handful more patrons who were, financially contributing. So that was nice. So, so that was kind of what, that was why I was going to bring up my Darktable channel tonight. But those 200 odd subscribers that I picked up in the last week was what pushed me over the 20,000 mark.
Oh, nice. So you've been stagnant there for a little while.
Well, it was, like I said, I was averaging about 200 a month. And a week ago I was on 19,800. And I put out this video and it just explodes, and it's had 8,000 views in 4 days, which is nice. And so like I said, really just caught me off guard just how much people were excited about that idea, because I was a little bit worried, like as you suggested, that I might alienate particularly my long-term viewers. But I said
you probably will.
Well, possibly. As I said to them, you never know. You might just pick up something new on the second go round. So I'm sure some will say, and you're right, maybe some will drop off, but whatever.
Maybe there's more new ones out there looking than old ones. And those old ones have been around for so long, maybe not viewing the channel that much anymore because they already think they know everything.
Quite possibly. And that's the thing with the subscribers on YouTube. You don't know how many are still active. Just because someone clicked on the subscribe button 6 years ago doesn't mean that, as you say, that they're still watching the channel. So
what are you going to call the new series?
I'm not renaming it. I'm not even renumbering it. I'm just continuing on with the numbering schema that I've had.
But you got to say, like, Darktable 101, the new beginning.
So the most recent video is episode 154 or 5 or whatever it was, and it's called A New Beginning.
Ooh. You got to get that 101 in, because that's what Americans understand.
See, all of my thumbnails are a consistent thumbnail with a particular background.
How many I've only got 2. How many do you have?
I've got 150 odd.
Oh, goodness.
And so they all have a sort of a textured background, with the text and an appropriate image over the top. And so I've decided that all I'm going to do is just change the textured background, and that will be the indicator between the original stuff and the new stuff.
See, I think I'm a subscriber, but I've never watched a video.
Of course you haven't. It's just like you've never listened to this podcast.
Exactly. Here's enough. Well, that's awesome, dude. I hope that gives you some passion because you've got to make it interesting for yourself as well.
Well, this is the thing. I kind of felt like I was running out of stuff to cover. There are a couple of little corners of Darktable that I haven't delved into. Things like Lua scripting and they're just things that don't interest me, and so it's a bit hard to do videos about that stuff if you're not really interested in it yourself.
It'd be even more boring than normal.
Thank you. So I thought,
welcome to Train Spotters Anonymous. This week's episode will cover.
There we go. So
that's a well, maybe I heard some bad things about Darktable this week though. I was watching a YouTube video on, I think it was like 9 alternatives to Photoshop, or might have been Lightroom. Actually, I think it was Lightroom. Yep. And of all the ones, Darktable got the lowest rating, right? Because of how crap the interface is,
which is harsh because it is so closely plagiarized, shall we say, from Lightroom.
It has an homage.
An homage, yes. But I get it. There are some quirks to the UI that I can understand why people would say that.
Is it not as polished, maybe? Would that be a nicer way of...
I think, maybe. Like, a lot of the icons are smaller, and there are some things that you would think would be intuitive, like... Imagine your modules down the right-hand side, or the left-hand side for that matter.
What's a module?
Well, like the panels in Lightroom.
What do they do? I don't use Lightroom. What do they do?
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't used Lightroom in 8 years, so... but
you don't know either.
Each of those modules, like, your highlight, saturation, luminance module, or your exposure module, or your white balance module.
With all the sliders.
Yeah, that's the one. Right.
So technical terms, Bruce.
So in Darktable, they're referred to as modules.
Right.
If you've used other pieces of software like that, you would kind of assume that if you moused over one of those side panels and you rolled your mouse wheel, that the modules would scroll up and down.
You would, yeah.
That is not the default behavior in Darktable. It is something you can enable it in the preferences, but it's not the default behavior.
And you wouldn't know to look for that because...
Exactly. And so there are little things like that I think, kind of catch potentially new users off guard. And if they
it's like people want to jump in and feel reasonably quickly like they're getting a bit of a handle of the basics. Yeah. And if the basics don't work the way they're expecting to and they don't know how to fix it, or if there even is a fix, this is the way this one works, I like the way the other one works better, they're going to come and go pretty quickly.
So I get it. I get some of the criticism pertaining to the UI.
Yeah.
But I also think it's one of those instances where you have to spend a little bit of time to learn about this new piece of software if you want to get value from it. And I think that goes for any piece of software. There are lots of pieces of software that are not necessarily intuitive the minute you open them up, but if you spend the time...
You delete those. You just delete them.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Maybe I do, maybe you don't. There's the difference in two different human beings right there.
Well, I mean...
The ADHD person over here going, more than 1 minute learning, too late.
I think I've told the story before where when I first made the jump to Linux in 2016, the first thing I did was question, okay, if I'm going to make this jump, what is going to be my new, Lightroom-esque piece of software? And the three that I found on Linux were Digicam, Raw Therapy, and Darktable. And I think I might have tried them in that order, actually. And of the three, Darktable was certainly the most difficult to approach.
Wow.
But I also recognised pretty much straight away that if I was to spend the time to learn it, it was going to be the most powerful of the three. And so I sort of took that attitude, was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit painful to get up and running, but I think it's going to be worth the investment of time in the long run. And to this day, I stand by that, and I think it was worth the investment of time. So, yeah.
Well, you've got 20,000 people who agree with you.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I wonder if I should download Darktable and join along on your journey of teaching me how to use it. Because then every week I could critique your last video. Wouldn't that be fun, Bruce? Wouldn't you love that?
No, I wouldn't.
Stay away from Darktable.
Yeah. You know, the one thing that I think is also it's a definite weak link for Darktable is that printing from Darktable is only available on the Linux and the Mac versions. It's not
really
not available from the Windows version. And it's all because Linux and the Mac operating system are both derived from the Unix operating system, and the Unix operating system has a thing called CUPS. I can't remember what the C stands for, but it's Unified Printing Service. Yeah. And CUPS is what Darktable uses for its ability to print the images that you've developed. And because CUPS doesn't function on the Windows system, because Windows is not based on Unix, there's no print support for Darktable on the Windows version. And I do think that is a major weakness, preventing Darktable from getting wider market adoption.
So you'd think so, because, Windows being such a big percentage of the market.
But at the same time, I also think of all the people who use, let's say, Lightroom, what percentage actually print their own photos at home?
Oh, full 3%.
So exactly.
Split that between the three operating systems.
Exactly. So I kind of think, well, maybe not having print support is really not that big an impediment, but I think it's just a psychological thing that a potential new user comes to it and goes, oh, hang on, I can do stuff, but I can't print it. No, I'll move on to something else that will at least let me print, even if I'm never, ever going to print a photo. Yeah. So anyway.
Someone should just develop a simple print module.
Yeah. But maybe it's not that simple. I don't know.
Even a standalone print doesn't have to be a module for Darktable. Just a simple Windows photo printing module. It shouldn't be that hard. Yeah. It's about sizing, sharpening, or whatever, and output.
You would think, but I don't write code, so I don't know.
And also, coming from someone who's never printed anything, I wouldn't know either.
To be honest, if I want something printed, I'd rather go to a professional who's got the right kind of printer and the right kind of inks and the good paper and
a lot less hassle, isn't it?
Exactly. I would rather pay someone to just do it right, and and then I get a product back and I go, that's perfect, and it took one go.
Yeah. Well, that's it. So it was not halfway through, and I've run out of magenta or something. And I don't know how printing works, but I think magenta's in there somewhere. Yeah. It has its moments.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So, I've been umming and ahhing because I tried out the I talked last episode. I tried out the Nick software again.
Nick FX.
I actually really, I always loved their black and white. Their black and white was always
the silver effects. Yep.
Yeah, and every single thing I do in silver effects, the black and whites just look better than anything I've done in black and white in years.
It does.
It does. I just love it to pieces.
Yeah, right.
But my 30-day trial's expired, and no one's sending me a free one, so that's not going to keep up. I'm looking for another project to look at another bit of software because I'm pretty cranky with Adobe. I think it's like $25 a month or something now.
Wow.
Which is it's got went from like $14.99 to $24.99 or something. It's just
what in one jump?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to how much things are, but something like that.
And what are you getting for your $25? Is that just Lightroom and Photoshop?
Oh yeah, maybe other things I don't use like Bridge.
Yeah.
But I don't use that either. I don't use Lightroom, so I don't. So I'm paying for that too and not using it.
How come you don't use Lightroom? What do you do? How do you manage your photos?
Oh, I don't, Bruce.
You just leave them on the memory card.
They go into a folder. The folder goes into the NAS drive, and then they get lost.
Right.
And then somebody says, "Can you?" Like the other month, a person reached out and said, "I put a photo up on a low res photo because I can find an old. Well, there's an old photo. Put that up." And says, "Oh, I'd love to buy a copy of that. Can I have a high res version?" Nah, because I don't know where it is. So there goes the sale.
Yeah, right.
But no, they're on the hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And that's why they'll never be seen again. Yeah, but there might be a folder of like my fave images, but I could never go back and find the RAW again to edit the RAW. I think that's long hidden somewhere in 47 folders, almost with all the same names. And then sometimes the folder gets put inside a folder, gets put inside another folder, gets put inside a folder, then put inside a folder on the hard drive, and then you don't need to look inside those 14 folders to find the one folder that it's in.
Yeah.
So that's my image management system.
Or mismanagement system.
But as I've always said, Bruce, I don't care about my photos.
Yeah, right.
Since 2005, Shutters Inc. has been a labour of love. But beyond the time required to produce it, there is also a financial commitment. If you find value in the podcast and would like to help keep the servers running, hit up the Patreon link, which is in the show notes. Even a couple of dollars a month will help. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
Okay, so the ones that you do care about, so your family photos, what do you do with those?
I have a big folder called family photos.
Not sorted by date.
Oh, no, I just dropped them in there. I'm in there by the thousands. That's it, yeah.
Have you never had any file name clashes?
Oh, possibly. I just put a 0.1 at the end of it.
It just got overwrite.
Point 1, point 2, point 3. Same file, but with a point, something else at the end of it. Add another digit to it first. Simple. Problem solved, you know.
Oh, dear.
So it's a very simple solution. So the only thing I care, it's when I'm putting together a presentation or a talk. I'm already. I was trying to think of my next talk for the Bright Festival of Photography up in October. I've got to come out with a new talk. So that's when I need images. So I have something particular I want to say.
Yep.
And there'll be an image somewhere that will say that as best as I can with the images I've got.
Yep.
That's when I go on the mad hunt, looking through a million folders trying to find that one photo. Then if I don't find it, I change the subject. I say something else.
Right.
My talk is tentatively called so far, "Come Here, the World's #1 rated photographer, asterisk."
Right.
And the asterisk is with the name Glynn Lavender.
Right.
Because there's only 1 me in the world, so I am the world's #1 rated ranked photographer.
Named Glynn Lavender.
With the name Glynn Lavender. Yeah. I'm the most award-winning photographer in the world, even though I've never won an award. I'm the most called Glynn Lavender. I'm also the least award-winning photographer in the world, called Glynn Lavender. But it has a lot of benefits for us.
Of course.
So the talk it's going to be this big selling point. Come here, the world's #1 ranked photographer, asterisk. Share his knowledge. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's going to be, but now I've got to find photos to actually have something to say. Oh, and actually, I came across a concept as well. Are you good or are you lucky?
Right.
You might just be lucky. Yeah, you're in the right place at the right time. You press the button at the right time with roughly the right settings. And if you go to enough good places, you're going to have enough good luck that you'll get enough good photos that people think you're good.
Right.
Yeah, versus actually being good, and which would you rather be as well? Would you rather be good or lucky? Because if you're lucky, you think maybe more good things are going to happen to you because you're lucky. So that's kind of the ramblings that's going around inside my brain at the moment about what this year's talk could be. That's it anyway. You're getting hot in there, Bruce.
I am getting warm.
It's all of 4 degrees down here in sunny Melbourne.
Kat said to me when I was coming in here to record, she goes, do you want the pedestal heater? And I said, no, it's fine. I said, once the computer's running and the door's shut, the room very quickly warms up.
As you do, obviously.
Cool. So I'm a member of the Whisky Club.
Yes, you are.
Here in Australia. Yeah. And
my mate Michael Warshaw, I think, is a big member of those.
Oh, is that right?
I know. Every time I've gone to his place, he's given me like a sip of his $1,200 bottle of whiskey or something. Or that shot's worth $300. Yeah, I was saying 20 bottles of that in the world. He's that kind of whiskey wanker. Yeah. So you're a member of the Whisky Club.
So every month you get a
Is it called
bottle.
Whisky a Go-Go?
No, it's called the Whisky Club. And every month you get a bottle. And
you have to drink a whole bottle in a month.
You have to try and make a bottle last for a month.
Really? What kind of drink are you, mate?
And so this month, the bottle that came out is from a distiller called Redbreast, and they announced that they were seeking creative photographic submissions, and that if yours was deemed the, most creative image supplied by one of the members, you could pick up $1,000 worth of plonk.
Ooh.
So I thought, I'm going to have a crack at this.
Absolutely.
So I decided to make a little, makeshift studio on the kitchen bench, and I had a couple of sheets of plywood which I simply gaffer taped together to stand at 45 degrees or 90 degrees like a V flat. I had a piece of red velvet that I draped over that. I had a little plastic box that I sat underneath the fabric so that the whiskey bottle could sit up high on that, and then placed a few choice ingredients around the front, of the various things that were described in the tasting notes. Like,
I was going to say, is that what they're supposed to represent, like the cherry ambiance or whatever?
There's chocolates, there's sultanas, there's coffee beans, there's some star anise, there's some nutmeg and some cocoa on the 2 little saucer thingamajiggies. Yeah, and then used a couple of my little light cubes with variable colour temperature that you can dial in for overhead on one side, and then just a white flash on the other side. So yeah.
And how'd you go?
Well, they haven't judged it yet, but I posted it on my Facebook and tagged the Whisky Club in it, and they came back with, "Wow, that looks amazing." So who knows? Might be in with a shot, maybe not. Who knows?
That's one word for it.
You didn't like it?
It's dark.
Yeah.
So you must have edited it with a dark table.
No. I barely touched the exposure at all.
It looks it.
But it didn't want to be lit.
Well, but the logo, looking at the photos, it's kind of hard to tell what brand the alcohol is or what it actually is.
Okay.
I wouldn't know it's whiskey.
Okay.
Until you told me. Okay. It just looks a bit underlit.
Okay.
Except for the bit that's under red, which is high. It says, I know that text is a bastard to light. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
But that bit glows.
Yeah.
I guess a couple of things that does my eye in is the velvet above the bottle is so bright.
Right.
So when you look at a dark photo, your eye will naturally be led more to the bright things because that's. So I'm actually looking away from the bottle more.
Okay.
To the big V shape. I love the red velvet on the left-hand side.
Right.
Got the kinks and the swirls and the textures you've got with the light and shadow. And I like the texture of the velvet on the right-hand side.
Okay.
With the textures and swirls I think they're lovely. The foreground velvet's a bit flat.
Right.
I don't know what you do with it to make it more interesting, but it's just maybe there's just a bit too much of it in the shot.
Right.
And I just think if that top velvet had been not quite so bright, the photo might have looked a bit brighter to look at.
Okay.
There's in the darker subject may have looked brighter by not having something bright right behind it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But as far as the concept goes, as far as the flavors, I got that straight away. I can see what he's trying to do. It's obviously this denotes whatever tastes this whatever liquor it is, because I couldn't tell. It's Irish whiskey, Bruce. It's zoomed right in. Look at that.
It is. See, you can actually read the text.
Oh, it is only when you zoom in, it's 500%. I just don't know if I'm trying to sell the brand. Maybe I'd like the brand a little bit more front and center. Right. Yeah, just a little more dominant in the scene. But unfortunately, as soon as you do that, then you lose the other elements. It's tricky. Yeah. I'm not saying it's... actually, I just saw another thing I don't like. Yeah. So the one piece of... And this is another... It's really picky. But the piece of red fabric that's lit to the left of the bottle, that's vertical straight from the top, it's like a straight line. Oh, yeah. It's just too straight. It's just a bit... Yeah, you've got all these beautiful curves and sensual shapes on the bottom, and then it goes to this straight line. I probably would like a bit of kinky in that, Right. I love the way red velvet lights in photography. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah. It's just something about it's sensual and it's tactile and it looks like it flows, and that's what all that stuff does on the left hand side and the right hand side. Yeah. I just think it loses some of it. Just the big V at the top of brightness. Yeah. You know what I would love to see? How bright is that lid? It's probably a very dull clarity kind of red, is it?
Sorry, the
lid of the
bottle. It's really dark.
Yeah, is that really? Yeah, so that would be nice if it had a bit of pop of colour in there, but you can tell it's like a clarity sort of. I just think the product needed a bit more. Yeah, if I'm selling to the brand...
If I was doing it commercially, I probably wouldn't have been done in, 45 minutes on the kitchen bench. It would have been done in a studio.
How much of that was drinking afterwards?
No, I still haven't cracked the bottle yet. But, to those points, what the entire set needs is more distance between the bottle and the backdrop, so that you could get more light on the bottle without overlighting the backdrop. Yeah. And that's kind of where I was a little bit limited with the space that I had. I couldn't get the light in close enough to provide that pop. And even if I had have been able to get it in closer, it would have then just created more specular highlights on the bottle, rather than a soft wraparound light, which, as you say, is kind of what you need for that text, because the metallic style text, even with the lighting that I've had, which I've softened as much as I could, you can still see specular highlights in that text. Yeah, yeah. So anyway.
I've downloaded it just whilst we were talking just then.
Oh, here we go.
And it is brighter. It is brighter. For some reason,
I can tell you now, people, we're going to get Glynn's edit of the image.
So it's brighter in the download than it is on the email you sent through. So what I'm looking at...
that sounds to me like colour management issues between your email reader and whatever you're now viewing the image in.
Yeah, so if I'm looking at based on this, it's got a little bit more pop.
Right.
A little bit more pop, which is nice.
So what are you viewing it in now?
I'm in Luminar Neo.
Yeah, well, there you go. That'll be a colour-managed environment and probably does look better.
Yeah, well, it does look better. Yeah. Versus the
email client.
The email, which is yeah. So I'm unfairly judging it, is what I'm saying to you, bro. I was unfairly judging it. I think you did have a little bit more oomph in it than you provided. But it's still. I'm being distracted now because I'm editing whilst talking to you.
Of course.
But,
look, for me, it was just a little bit of fun. I just thought I'm going to have a go.
Oh, good on you too.
Got nothing to lose, other than an hour of the time. Yeah, exactly. And potentially,
but even it's not even a waste of that because you're learning stuff.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
You're learning how to do stuff, you know, and that makes a huge difference. Yeah,
like if you have a look at the behind the scenes shot,
I did. Yeah,
you'll see that the little light cube on the left hand side, I ended up draping a tissue about 3 inches in front of it just to try and make that light cube bigger and softer.
Yeah.
Which, again, was just something that I, sort of, as I was setting up the shot and bringing the lights into play, I was like, oh, that light's a bit too specular. What can I do to soften that off? So I thought, well, we need to get some sort of diffusion in front of it that, and as far in front of it as I can possibly manage, which was only about 3 inches. But yeah, as you say,
you're working with what you got.
Yeah, you sort of work through all these little problems as best you can under the circumstances. And something I hadn't noticed, but it's now just caught my eye, is that white specular highlight on the right-hand saucer, the one that's got the cocoa in it.
No, yeah.
I'd not noticed that until now. I should clone that out. But, anyway, it was good fun.
Yeah, but it's everything you do, and you did all this in Darktable, obviously.
Yeah, look, honestly, I barely touched the image. It's so close to what came out of the camera.
Shows.
Yeah. Bugger off.
But I'm curious why you didn't do more. Was it because you were happy with you'd either I've spent enough time on this, or
I just didn't think I could improve on the lighting with what I had.
Really? That's just only because you're very good at Darktable. I could have. Yeah, I say this again with my brain. The way my brain works is I like to experiment. So yeah, I've shot it like this, but I want to know what else it could look like. My brain would want to see what other options there were. Right. You know what I mean? What how else it could look.
Right.
It's just, and that's literally just the way I do everything. I have no system to how I edit. I just like to look at and that's why you'll find I'll have photos that I'm known for. I'll go and re-edit them completely differently than the way people. I'll change this. I'll change the color because I just want to see it in different ways. Okay. To get different feels and different vibes from it, and I think that's one of the way I learn.
Okay.
Is to see differently, is to see what I've already seen and shot. Well, how can I see it differently than what I've actually done? Than how I've been, and especially if a couple of years have gone by or something. Yeah. How does my vision change to how I see these images now than what they were like?
Okay.
So that's just sort of a thing. Okay, I'm going to email this back to you now. Reply.
Here we go.
I can't just drop it in the box of the chat for some reason.
Oh, can't you? Oh, okay.
No, it wouldn't go. So, yeah, I just sent you an email.
Okay.
Oh, was it sitting in the outbox still?
Oh, it hasn't sent.
No, there's another one here from... I've just found an email that didn't go 3 weeks ago.
Oh, ouch.
Sitting in my outbooks. Yeah, someone inquiring about Bangladesh.
Oh, oops.
I completely don't care about you, so I haven't replied in 3 weeks.
Oh, here it is. There you go. Here it is, behind the scenes. Oh, okay. So you've just dulled down the highlight on
the highlight V at the top.
Yeah.
What else do you see?
Not a whole lot. Oh, the straight line down the left that you were talking about that you've cloned.
Straight line's gone. Yep.
Yeah.
I've brightened the label of the whiskey a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Just sort of popped but I've also popped the highlights, the two highlights, vertical highlights above the label.
Oh, okay. On the bottom.
And raise the brightness on the lid just a tiny bit.
Oh, yes.
Just to give it a bit more. It's just not on there. I did delete that highlight on the plate, but it's back in it for some reason. How weird's that?
Cool.
But yeah, so as you said, it's not much.
No,
but it's just those little nuances, and now because that background's that little bit darker, the bottle stands out more. Your eye stops at the bottle rather than going past it.
Yep.
And I actually really like that mysterious area where the that straight line was, has now got this kind of delicate, mysterious fold in the background.
Yep.
Yeah, it adds a bit of depth to that part of the image too.
Well, can I say, well done, Mr. Lavender, for your restraint.
Absolutely. And a tiny bit of a vignette on it too.
Oh, okay, right.
Just to darken down that. I was saying that foreground, I wasn't loving that, and it's just going to darken that down a bit with a vignette.
Yep.
And that kind of draws your attention, because it pulls your attention to the middle a little bit more, so the eye stands out much. Yeah. So that's probably where I would have ended up if I was doing the image.
Okay.
Yeah, with my vision. Neither right or wrong, but mine's right. But, do we have anything else? We've been going like an hour. Well,
we have.
How long this episode's been going for?
The only thing
this is take number 3, Bruce.
Yeah, that's right. The only thing I had was something from Carl. He said, "Hi guys, great to hear you on the pod again. In case you missed this photography documentary on SBS, Language of Light is streaming now. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes." And you had a couple of things.
LOL, that's called, Bruce. Laughing out loud, Language of Light.
Right, okay. LOL.
It's a funny video. It's a funny documentary on photography.
Okay. Did you want to cover the stories that you sent me?
Well, I want to talk about the new Fujifilm camera that's just got announced this week.
Okay.
And their complete and utter stupid naming system, where they completely missed a great opportunity.
Okay. So what did they call it?
The new camera's the EX5.
Okay.
And it should be the Sexy 5, SEX5. It's a sexy freaking camera. Bruce, this camera is so freaking sexy, it should have sex in the label.
Right.
Have you seen this little bugger?
Why not call it the 5EX instead of the EX5?
See, that would look like sex then, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Subtle sex. Yeah. It's like when you do it on your calculator, or when you're trying to get it past your teachers in school or something. So have you seen the camera at all, though, Bruce?
No.
It's everything we could kind of almost want in a small rangefinder compact. All metal bodies, aluminium bodies, so it feels really solid. Actual dials that click, 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 click with a full shutter speed dial.
Ooh,
and a aperture priority dial.
Wow.
And aperture on your lens that clicks as you turn it. It's just like an old school film camera.
Wow.
But digi.
Yeah.
And the black and silver looks of it. But what they've done, which I really love, is just where it says Fujifilm XE5 on the top of the camera, they've got a new dial and a new little window for the film simulations. So you can spin the dial and change the film simulations to the different types of, but it just feels, again, it's all tactile and it's all old school feel.
Yeah, nice.
They also released another camera just it's called the X-Half, I think, between our last pod, which is a stupid looking camera, and it's stupid expensive, but they have got one thing that makes this little film thing even better. On the back of the X-Half, there's this tiny little screen which looks like the old film window you used to have in your digital cameras, and you slide it, and it actually emulates a picture like the old film. You used to be able to see the film canister inside your camera, so it kind of looks like that. You can slide down all the different types of film. That is awesome.
That's awesome. I love that.
The camera's super. The only thing that could make this XE5 any better, was if it had the same optical digital viewfinder that the X100 has.
So you mean an EVF instead of an OVF?
No, it's optical, and I don't know if you've seen the Fuji 106 has an optical viewfinder with a heads-up display for numbers and stuff.
Right.
But with a flick of one switch, a little panel pops up, blocks the optical, and becomes a full EVF.
Wow.
So you have both. With a flick of one switch, you have the choice of either.
Interesting.
Which I think is just a brilliant idea, and taking that engaged feel of looking through a viewfinder at the actual world, you've got that beautiful option to do. Plus the flick of one button, you've got all the benefits of modern tech.
Wow.
The disadvantage with the 106 is you can't change lenses.
Right.
Yeah, where this, of course, is full interchangeable lenses, and it's in tiny size. This thing's going to be about $3,000 Australian, camera only.
Ouch. Okay.
Ouch, indeed. But this is one sexy bloody camera.
Oh, I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah. Oh, and one other great thing about that I loved on the X106 this doesn't have, which disappoints me, is you see where you've got the shutter speed dial on this camera.
Right.
Well, on the X106, you can actually lift up the outside dial, and there's a little window inside for your ISO, and you spin that. Remember the old cameras, you have to lift up and turn the dial and change your ISO? That's what you do with this one, with that old one, to change ISO. So it's got like two little elements missing that would make it just a cracking camera. But one other thing I love about this one as well is that it's got, remember the old match needle metering systems you used to have in the old cameras?
Yep.
This one emulates that. It's a setting that in your watch, while looking through a viewfinder, it's got this little match needle that you can just dial up, which I think is just so good. Yeah, it brings back all that joy of shooting that you kind of, I don't know, modern cameras make me feel like I'm one step, especially ones with EVS. So shooting with Sony, I feel like I'm one step removed from the process of shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, by not having the optical viewfinder that I'm so used to shooting with, and by not having those kind of feels for exposure that I used to have, and the clickety-click dials for change. So, spinning a dial to change a shutter speed inside my camera viewfinder ain't the same as manually turning a thing that actually has the numbers written on it. It's got that tactile feel that sort of engages you with shooting. Yeah. So I have a feeling this, and I haven't tried an X106, but I would like to. I feel would get you that one step closer to being engaged in shooting again, and that could just be me.
Yeah. I love the look of it. It is a nice looking camera, and
you should see it in silver. It's silver with the silver lens is super cool. So you should go check out a couple of videos on that. It is heinously expensive, but a cracking little camera. And then staying with the Fuji content, I came across this other site called that I'm calling It's Cooking Time. Yeah. So one thing with the modern Fuji cameras, they have all these film simulations, as I've mentioned. Yeah. Like classic, negative. They have slide. They're black and white. But you can actually dial up. You can actually create your own personalized film simulation. So if you like your colors muted, but you like a softer black, so you can actually dial up how much contrast you want in black, all this kind of detail.
Yeah, right.
And on the Fuji, on this camera with the XE5, there's actually on that little film wheel, there's three custom settings to have your three personal favorite so you can just dial it up. But this guy's come out with this site that I'm calling It's Cooking Time, where you can, it's called a Fuji X recipe generator.
Right.
Where you can create your own recipe by going through saying what kind of camera you've got, what kind of sensor, what kind of looks you're looking for, what kind of film emulation you want, what tones do you want muted, what all this kind of, do you want a cinematic look or do you want a retro look? And it will then tell you all the settings to change on your camera to do that. Yeah. And then people, and online already, people have been for a while swapping these Fuji film recipes. Somebody will come up with this really cool idea, do some shots, say, here's the recipe, guys, and you can dial up your camera to create that same kind of color look.
It's a bit like people exchanging LUTs.
Exactly right, yeah. But it's a LUT for the camera, basically. Yeah. So I thought if anyone's out there shooting Fuji with customizable things, you might want to go check out that site, because I think that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And then you might come up with some ideas that you'd never thought of yourself, or just again, with all things, it should be fun. We should be having some playing around, trying different things is pretty good.
Of course.
And then on the opposite scale of the Sexy 5, a mate of mine sent me a photo. I just bought a new camera. Good idea. And he's not a photographer. He's just a friend. Right. And he goes, I bought a new camera. He goes, what is it? And it's called Camp Snap. And it's basically a digital disposable camera. Remember the old disposable film cameras? It's that, but in digital form. So it records to a memory card, but there's no screen.
Right.
All there is a counter saying how many photos you've taken. Yeah. And you just walk around and press the button. But it's got a couple of different film simulations, so you can dial up different looks. Yeah. Right. But this is like, I think it's $100, $120 camera. Yeah. But it's basically a reusable digital disposable camera. And why it's called Camp Snap, I found out, is that it's designed. It's trying to be sold to American families who are sending their kids on school camp. Where they go on these long camps, and they've got a camera to take that's not. Because camps aren't often allowed to have devices with screens.
Okay.
But my mate was sending some photos out. He's out taking photos of his kids at footy training and stuff like that, and they look pretty darn cool.
Yeah, right.
So just to have this little fun, and once again, that delayed gratification of not being able to see what the photos look like, is kind of cool. So you can walk around just camp snapping away, and come home and then see what you've got. It's kind of cool.
Oh, and it's a 35 mil equivalent, so fixed focal length.
Yeah, fixed focal length, 35 mil, point bang, built-in flash, garbage flash probably, but still. But I thought that's kind of cool if someone wants to have something just to play around with, or you keep in your car. You're going to have something. I would like to go take some photos. You don't want to use your phone because again, your phone is not a satisfying way of taking photos. I'd have to say. It does the job. It does a great job. It does a fabulous job. That's part of the problem, maybe. You know. But this actually would feel like you're out there, kind of involved in your hobby a bit, that you wouldn't get with your phone. So I thought that was kind of cool as well.
Nice.
So they're my little discoveries for the week.
Awesome. All right.
It's almost like I did research this week.
Almost.
Damn close. Yeah.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, I think we're done.
I think so.
Thank you for that.
It's been lovely chatting with you.
Likewise. And get back to those Bangladesh customers. See if they still want to go.
I'll go check that email out now. God.
Awesome, mate. Well, good luck with your kiddo and your natural light portraiture this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be. We'll see how we go with the world's worst day to shoot natural light. Yeah. When I said natural, I meant with flash. That's natural. It's natural to have a battery-operated light.
It's naturally bouncing off the wall.
That's right. Oh, God.
Awesome, mate. All right, well, you look after yourself.
You too, mate. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.
Talk to you in a week or two. See you, mate.
Or 3 or 4 or 6.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Shutters Inc. For questions, comments, and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.